Hello, everyone. Thank you again for coming to another show. You guys are awesome. You guys are the best. We have a lot to talk about today. My guest, Mark Taylor, and I. We're going to talk about what we do know, what we don't know, and what we can do with what we know and don't know. So there you go. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. It's going to be an exciting show.
Best of my ability.
Preserve, protect, and defend
Preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States.
the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help
Are
me
you
God.
ready for the big guns? America's economy is the biggest in the world with a GDP of 17.95 trillion and a per capita of $55,836, meaning its population is much richer than that of the Russian and Chinese.
President telling the heads of Israel, Egypt, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, and the Palestinians today he will recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital. An unprecedented move breaking with U.S. policy since Israel was created.
We are learning today that President Trump is planning to dismantle another Obama-era policy, this on affirmative action. This is according to a source familiar with the president's plan. The Obama-era policy laid out legal guidelines.
3 years after President Trump took office, work is finally underway on one of his key campaign promises.
One after another, we're keeping our promises and putting power back into the hands of the people. First, today's Energy Independence Action calls for an immediate reevaluation of the so-called Clean Power Plan.
Today I'm taking another bold action to support energy jobs in Texas. Because as long as I'm president, we will always put America first.
So help me God. So help me God. Congratulations.
So help me God. So help me God.
So help me God.
So help me God.
The ISIS caliphate has been decimated.
Again, thank you everyone for being here. You are much appreciated. You are why we do this show. I do want to say one thing. That little video intro that you just watched, a couple of minutes long, I developed and created it myself, and I can't wait to keep adding to it of the prophecies that come true. Mark, thank you for being here, brother. You're an awesome guy. Love you very much. We just become great brothers and great friends, and I appreciate your time always to take out for this show. Appreciate you, brother.
Well, thank you. It's always an honor to be on here, brother. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the intro, we want to talk about things we do know that we're seeing in the public, and there are some things that we don't know and won't know until they happen.
Right.
And then there are things that we do know about God and what we don't know about what God's going to do. So I'd like to take this show down that path and just talk about different things that we do know, what we are seeing. And just we can conclude by saying, this is what we know, this is what we don't know, and this is what God expects us to do with what we know and what we don't know.
Absolutely. And, look, the things that we do know, well, we do know that we're watching a movie here that's going on in D.C. We'll get into some of the specifics here in a little bit. But, I mean, the things that we don't know how long this is going to go on, and right. I think that this is always by design, like we talked about last week. It's by design by God. It's by design by the powers to be who are running the show, so to speak, military or whoever. It's just going to take time. And the problem is we got people jumping ship. We got people bailing because it didn't happen the way they rehearsed it in their head.
Right.
And just kind of like we deal with prophecy every day. People rehearse a prophecy in their head, how it's going to come to pass. And then when it doesn't, boom, he's a false prophet. He's this, he's that. Every name in the book, you start getting called. And it's not until it starts to come to pass, people go, oh, I guess that's how it was going to come to pass. It's the same thing with this theory, so to speak. So, we can't get overzealous. Look, I want to see the arrest just like everybody else does. we do know the arrests are coming. God has said it's coming.
Right.
He said that there'll be military tribunals, and who was it? This thing is just not over with yet. I don't know if you saw the video circulating. We talked about a pre-interview where somebody had taped Trump walking on the golf course, and they said, "Thank you, Mr. President, for your service." And he says, "Well, it's not over yet."
Right.
So there's another sign. This is not over. This is not over. We just have to sit back. We have to let God do his work. Whatever that work is and however long, that's the $1 million question everybody wants to know is like, how long is this going to take before we get the arrest? Nobody knows, guys. I think they could literally count probably on one hand who truly knows when this and how this is going to go down, because I don't believe anybody truly really knows, because again, the battlefield is constantly, it's fluid. It's constantly moving. It's constantly changing. Right. Moves, counter moves. So, I mean, you've got a lot of dynamics at work here right now.
I think it's, we're looking at our little part of the world right here. And we preach on this show, stop looking for the hows, just wait for him.
Right.
Look, we can't even begin to think like God thinks.
Right.
And so I think we need to take into consideration that this is a worldwide event. Not only does God have to manipulate and put things in place in America, he has to do it around the world.
Right.
We have world leaders that are attacking Trump and supporting Biden and saying good riddance to Trump. And there's a lot of manipulation that has to go on worldwide. And we need to consider that. It's going to take more than a week to do. Right. Even if we pulled God out of the picture, it's going to take more than a week to do. But since God is in the picture, I think that will expedite things, and we just need to wait for God to walk things out.
Right. Look, you're taking down thousands of years of corruption that have been in control of the earth right now. Exactly. And you're not going to do it overnight. This is why we have one shot at this. One. Yeah. And if we don't get it right the first time, forget it. All bets are off at that point. So we've got to get it right the first time. We don't see the intelligence coming across the president's desk, or we don't see the intelligence coming across, our military intelligence. These guys know what's going on way more than anyone off the street's going to know. And we're sitting here Monday morning quarterbacking something when we don't have all the pieces of the puzzle. You know what I mean?
Right. That's exactly what it is. So, and you mentioned earlier a while ago, and I want to say something and encourage other prophets to not attack each other. And I've been seeing that. This is what I feel in my spirit. I was talking to my wife the other day, and I said, you know what? I feel like God's on his last go around here.
Yep. And
that's what's setting in place right now. That's why we're seeing Biden where he's at. That's why we see Trump where he's at. But even Sid Roth came out, which was more disappointing to me than any of them. He came out and apologized because he was wrong about Trump. And this is a guy that has prophets on his show that are prophesying a 2-term for Trump. Right. And I'm like, Sid, come on, don't be doing that. And then I hear on social media, I see prophets attacking other prophets and calling each other, calling liars and stuff. And I think that it just needs to set and rest. And through all this, what I was saying was, I believe God is making his last go around. He's giving everybody a chance. Look, God has given us multiple chances to get right with him. He said multiple times, I've drawn the line, choose you this day who you're going to serve. And I think God is making his last rounds. And God showed me over a year ago that there's a hammer of justice that's going to drop by God. And I think that hammer is getting ready to drop hard.
And it's going to drop on the church first. And we're going to get into some of this here with the pyramid, like we talked about last week. Got to show me some things on that a little bit. I want to get into a little bit deeper on that. The thing is, like, you're absolutely correct as far as this is the last go around, so to speak, before his judgment, I believe, falls. I believe it's already falling in some places.
It is.
Look, we have a convergence right now of things on many different levels and many different dimensions. And I say that literally. There's a convergence going on. And right now you're finding out politically, you're finding out spiritually who is on God's side and who is on man's side. Who has the fear of the Lord, who has the fear of man. And this is, when we're talking about the apology tour, like the Lord told me was coming, it's some of that is the fear of man. Mm-hmm. And, you've got, you may have some backbiting going on out there. Well, I'm going to explain why there's a lot of this stuff that's going on. When we look at that pyramid, I don't know if you have it.
I do.
Okay. So last week I started talking about the pyramid a little bit, and we started talking about from the Marshall Report. They did a fantastic job about the corporation. She was talking about the corporation, how it worked, how Donald Trump had taken down the corporation,
right.
and she had a fantastic pick in there, and that was of the pyramid, of how this hierarchy works, if you will, or the rank structure of the pyramid. And there it is. And so when you look at this pyramid right here, there's, including the eye, there's about 13 levels, right? So you've got the Jesuits first, you got the Illuminati, Knights Templar, Knights of Malta, 32nd plus degree Freemasons, and then number 6, notice the number 6, is organized religion. Now, this organized religion is a part of this whole pyramid, right? So, it doesn't matter if you're Assemblies of God, Church of God, Lutheran, Methodist, Catholic, I don't care who you are. This is organized religion is what this is talking about. You are a part of the pyramid. Now, if you go all the way to the bottom where it says NGOs, think tanks, and big charities, the NGOs are the nonprofits, guys. That's the 501c3 is what they're talking about right there.
Right.
Now, everybody looks at this at the bottom and they go, well, it's at the bottom of the pyramid. It's not that big of a deal. Wrong, guys. This is showing you that it is the foundation upon which the pyramid is built. The 501c3s, the think tanks, the big charities. Why is that? It's because they're coming in the name of the Lord, in the name of good works. That's what the 501c3s are for. It's what the big charities are for. It's all in the name of good works. Now, God never, ever compromises with evil, period.
Correct.
He can't, because he's a holy God. He can't. There's nothing in him that would ever compromise with evil. So why would we as man ever compromise with evil? If we are truly sons and daughters of God, we would never compromise. So when you have people out there, let me just read something here real quick. Matthew 24:24. It says right here, for false messiahs, false prophets will be raised, and they will give great signs and wonders in order to lead astray, if possible, even the elect. Behold, I have told you beforehand. Therefore, if they would say to you, behold, he's in the desert, do not come out. Behold, if he is in the inner rooms, do not believe it. He's in the inner rooms. There are prophets and there are pastors who are telling you that God is in the 501c3s. And they're wrong.
Come on.
They are literally, look, the Bible talks about anyone or a prophet that comes to you and they try to bring you away from Christ and lead you into the kingdom of darkness. Okay. When you look at this pyramid, I want everybody to look at this pyramid for a second. When you look at the pyramid, that is the kingdom of darkness.
Yes, it is.
The 501c3s, the think tanks, the big charities, they are the part of the kingdom of darkness. I've heard every excuse in the book for the last, 5 years that I wrote that 501c3 prophecy. I've heard every excuse in the book. God told me to be a part of the 501c3. No, the 501c3 is a good thing. Folks, God never told you to be part of the 501c3. He does not compromise with evil, because if he told you to be a part of the 501c3, that's not the same God that I serve.
Right.
So when you talk about someone who's leading you away from Jesus Christ and pointing you to the kingdom of darkness through the 501c3, Paul, that is the true definition of a false prophet.
Come on.
It's not the accuracy. It's one who leads you away from Jesus Christ, the kingdom of God, and points you to the kingdom of darkness, which is what you see before you right now. That is the definition of a false prophet. And that's the part that most people don't understand. Now we can keep going with this, but what I want people to understand is that the 501c3s is the kingdom of darkness. And here's the other thing. Bible says, do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. Look at everyone on this list right here, guys. If you're a 501c3, a church, or whatever it is, you are now yoked with these organizations. And some of these that fall under here that you don't see, Planned Parenthood, Church of Satan, all of them are part, Church of Islam, they're all a part of this pyramid. And even organized religion.
Right.
This is why God is calling his people out. He's performing a rescue mission. Look, I believe we have good prophetic voices, even in the system, but they've been blinded because they've taken a bribe through the 501c3, because it says it blinds the eyes of the wise and perverts the words of the righteous. The reason that people like myself can prophesy on this is because we are not in the system. We're not blinded by the system. Therefore, we can prophesy about the system. We can see what the system does. Those who are the remnant can prophesy about these things. But if you're in the system, this is where they get blinded and they say, no, it's a good thing. No, God told me to be a part of this. No, he didn't.
Right.
No, he absolutely did not, because he cannot compromise with evil. So
Right.
what gives us the right as men and women of God to compromise with any evil like that? We're not even supposed to give the perception of evil.
This is what the pastors have been told. In order for your church to be legal, you must be a 501c3.
Right.
That is a lie.
Yep.
A complete lie. Even IRS questions and has the codes in there to keep churches away from a 501c3. But they've been lied, infiltrated, manipulated for so long, they believe that they have to be legal according to the United States to even exist. That is a lie. It is a complete lie. You do not have to be a 501c3 to be legal. As a matter of fact, you put yourself under the power of Baal, which makes you completely illegal in God's eyes.
That's right.
Illegal with God. And who do you want to answer to? Do you want to be illegal with the state, or you want to be illegal with God?
Right.
But the state gives you an out to not be a 501c3.
That's right. And look, the 501c3 is a complicated issue. It is very complicated. And what people have to understand is that when you are a 501c3, Jesus is not the head of your ministry. You can speak it all you want to. But if you look at the graph, what's the head? The eye, the all-seeing eye.
Illuminati.
The cabal. That's who you answer to. The Baal. This is the Baal system. This is the kingdom of darkness. We are not even to give the appearance of evil. And we are not to be unequally yoked. We're yoked with these people. So for someone to sit here and say, no, it's a good thing. No, it's not, guys. Because God would never, ever, would God ever come to you and say, Paul, it's okay to be a 501c3, brother, because, you're coming in my name and you're doing good works and you're spreading the gospel. So I'm going to let you guys be a part of all of these other little organizations right here. I'm going to let you be yoked with this. Would he ever say that? Never. Never in a million years would God ever say that, because he does not want his people inside of the kingdom of darkness, period.
Right.
So those are some things that people have to understand. And if people, before you criticize, because I know there's people out there, I get criticized every day on this message. Before you criticize, you need to search a matter out, because you don't understand from a legal perspective. You're looking at it from a natural perspective. God's looking at it from a spiritual perspective, that you are under the lordship of the kingdom of darkness. That is who your master is. Because what they're going to find out under Biden, I'm just waiting for Biden to do this, by the way. I'm just waiting for him to come against the 501c3s and start shutting them down, or saying, you're going to preach transgender or homosexuality, or we're going to shut you down. And guess what? That's coming. So guess what? He can legally do it.
Yes,
they can legally do it. Even the governors of a state can legally do it, because you're a corporation. They can legally do it. So they really have no recourse to even fight it, honestly. They can fight it all they want to. But this is where we're talking about spiritually, in the legal realm spiritually. You have no legal rights at this point, because Jesus is not the head of your ministry. That is. Right.
Two things I want to add to this. I know someone, a pastor, who was sued by IRS because he was he wasn't properly putting his money in place. He felt he was. To him, he was not guilty. And looking at it from the natural eye, he was not guilty. Anyway, he appeared in court. And he said the first thing the judge asked him when he appeared in court, are you a 501c3, nonprofit religious organization? He said, yes, I am. The judge said, then you have no say-so in here.
There you go. There you go.
That was hard.
Yes, sir. But it was the truth. It was the truth.
And people need to realize, second thing is, people need to realize why churches was offered a 501c3. And they didn't come around until 1969, the 501s. But this is what happened and why the churches began, because the government and IRS began to lie to them. What happened was, and the reason 501c3s even came around, because the IRS and the government wanted to see what kind of money is flowing through your organization. And so in 501c3s, no one owns a 501. You have board of directors to manage it. But when you become a 501c3, legally, no one owns it but the state, period. And you can do your research. I've done research for 10 years on this. You can do your research. So they wanted control over the money. Yep. What kind of money is going through this? So what happened was they put in their 501c3 stats that a nonprofit cannot profit at the end of the year. They are allowed to hold a 6-month reserve budget in case they have a bad year, because 501s rely on donations. So they have that. So the government says, and the IRS says, you're allowed to hold 6 months reserved account in your account in case you have a bad year. That's all they can do. That applies to churches also. Churches cannot make as much money as they want. They're restricted by the government. So the IRS said, look, we got all these churches that we don't know how much money they're making. We have no idea how much money they're making. We need to somehow know what kind of money they're making and control it. So they begin to offer churches this 501c3 and say, look, in order for you to be legal, you need to be a 501c3. Basically what it was is offering the state a way to look at your finances and also tell you cannot have any more money in your budget than more than 6-month reserve. So that's why churches were offered a 501c3, because the government and the IRS wanted to see what kind of money comes through your organization.
Right. And look, when we're talking about these 501c3s, you're talking about the mega churches. I want to kind of move into that for a second, if you don't mind.
Go ahead, brother.
A lot of these organized religion stuff, like you can move up the ladder here on that graph, and a lot of these churches are Illuminati driven. They get their 4 a.m. talking points just like the news media does. So when you see some of these pastors out there who are out there idolizing the world, you know what I mean? Look, they've got a worldly mindset, whatever it is. You know, you had Beth Moore coming out the other day when she was talking about the inauguration, when she talked about Lady Gaga. She talked about the dove that was on Lady Gaga's. Now, I don't want to get into Gina's territory, but our friend Gina Phillips, which I know you're going to have her on here pretty soon.
In a couple of weeks, yeah.
She did a decode, and I wrote it down word for word here. I'm going to give you an example here. I believe she's spitting out code. That's just me. That's my opinion. She was spitting out code is what Beth was doing. But she says she loved the dove symbol. It brought her peace. Now remember that. It brought her peace. Gina said this. The dove symbol is of Aphrodite, Venus, and Isis, which is the same thing. All fall on Aphrodite. He said that is their peace, right? When the cabal, the Illuminati, showed the dove, it's the Antichrist dove. It's not biblical, godly Christian peace. It's the peace the Antichrist is going to bring. The Antichrist system. That's what that dove represents. That's what she says brings her peace. That's how you know these guys are of the world. They're of the system. So that's the scary part, guys. When you can, I've said this 100 times. These guys have been trained, and they've been brainwashed. They've been mind controlled. Some of these guys, and they set the platform or the stage, if you will, through the worship, through the frequencies. They just like Hitler did. And then the pastor comes out and speaks. He speaks the code. What's he using as code? He's using Scripture's code. Given it should be given unto you, pressed down, shaken together. And what happens? People start giving. Boom, boom, boom. Right? Because they're setting the stage for it. It's like they're brainwashing the people. It's like this is all about it. This is all a control mechanism. What is God into religion? No, God is not into religion. He is into, why? Because it's in this matrix right here. It's in the kingdom of darkness. He's into a relationship with Jesus Christ. That's what this is about. But you have so many of these organizations, this organized religion that has dominated us, that's brainwashed us over the years, and all of us are waking up with this, by the way. I mean, we're all at a different level of awakening here. But this is what this is all about. This is about a rescue mission. This is about, again, I believe we have good prophetic voices that are caught up in this system. But it's like you said, when the Lord gave me that prophetic word, that 501c3, because you said this is going to be the last circle here, basically, the Lord's doing. The Lord gave me that word. He said, Mark, many have come before you with that word. He said, you are the last before my judgment falls. Now, Paul, I have been screaming this from the rooftops, and I've been called every name in the book for that message. And it's like the hammer is about to fall on these guys. There's not much time left to come out of that system.
Right.
Especially for these pastors. Now, some of them refuse. Some of them refuse to see it. They don't want to see it because why? They're caught up in the world. They're after the wealth. They're after the influence. They want everything that the system can give them, but claim that God is giving it to them when in fact he is not. Don't think that the devil won't reward you for being a part of his system, because he will. Even if you're coming in the name of the Lord. Period. See, they don't want to rely on God's system, God's timing, and God's way of giving you or elevating you, right? Because God will elevate us in his own time as to where he wants us to be as far as our ministries are concerned. But you have so many out there that want to be elevated. They want it, and they're willing to do anything, including selling their soul, to get to it.
Yes.
They want to be, again, we're talking about character versus gifting. They think their gifting is more important than their character. And it's the other way around. God wants to see what we're going through right now, this whole thing that we're going through, this dimensional thing I was talking about earlier, or this convergence. We're not hearing anything. It's like the heavens are like brass almost for a lot of people, that I hear people, I can't hear anything. I can't see anything. It's because we are to stand right now. That's all we can do is stand. No matter what we see in the natural, we're not hearing anything in the natural either. We're not hearing any good news in the natural. Notice that? I mean, it's like almost like I'm in a blackout, if you will.
Right.
Why? Because God is building our character. He's teaching us you're going to have to stand on what I have spoken, period. No matter what you see in the natural, you're going to have to stand. And most people are not used to that, Paul. We've never been here in history right now. We've never been in here in history like this, in a situation like this, the entire world. Because what we're doing is we're snatching the reins away from the cabal, the dark side, and God's taking control of it. So we're in this transfer, if you will, this transfer that was taking place. And sometimes that can get ugly. It can get dark. And that's where we're at right now. And so people are scared. They're just going strictly by what they're seeing on the news, what they're hearing in the news, what they're seeing in the natural. And it's like God's saying, look, I need you guys to turn that mess off.
Right.
Because you're letting the devil fill you full of stuff that's not there. And so you rely on what God is showing you. And I've said this 100 times. Stop listening and jumping from one prophetic voice to the next, to the next, to the next. Thinking, oh, this guy's got this word or she's got this word. No, knock it off. You need to hear what God is saying.
Mm-hmm.
You need to hear what God's saying right now. You need to hear the Lord's voice on your own right now, period. But see, this is the other thing about the false prophets I've been talking about. They feed off the fear of the people, and they know it. Some of these guys know it, Paul, and they're pulling off the strings of the fear strings of the people, and they know that they're going to come on, they're going to do this, and the donations, and another prophetic word, and this, that, and the other. And it's like, you've got to be careful who you follow right now, period. Now, I just showed people the kingdom of darkness. You just saw it with your own eyes right there. Lady did a wonderful job putting that piece together. But you saw the kingdom of darkness. You see who's a part of it. Anyone who is leading you away from Jesus Christ. And you saw it in Scripture right there, Matthew 24:24, where you're being led in to these inner rooms, 501c3, saying, oh, it's a good thing. Come on in, guys. You know what I mean? No. That is the biblical definition of a false prophet right there, guys. And that's what most people don't understand. It's the character of a man that makes him a false prophet, not if he misses something, okay?
Right. Words you can make a mistake on. Character you can't.
That's right.
Period. Your character is your character. Your character is what you do behind closed doors when nobody's watching. That's when your character comes out, and that's what needs to come out.
Well,
go ahead.
Just one thing. Look how many are in the 501c3 right now saying it's a good thing. Look how many pastors and prophets are in this that are saying it's a good thing. Brother, when God told me that there's another showdown coming between the spirit of Elijah and the prophets of Baal, he wasn't kidding. Because we don't have 800 out there. We got thousands. We got thousands out there if we're not careful. You know what I mean? This thing's way bigger because we're talking globally now. We're not just talking America. We're talking globally, okay? Because there's people in other countries doing the same thing that's going on here. Prophetically, pastorally. I mean, it's going on globally. I haven't talked to anyone globally, but I have heard from other people who know prophets from other countries saying same things happening there in their countries.
Yes.
With them, they're stealing words or twisting them and turning, making it their own. I mean, all the things that are going here are going on globally. So when you think about this, because look, there's other countries that have 501c3s. They're just not called that. It's the same system. It's just not called a 501c3.
Right.
I know Canada's got one. I know England's got one, and I'm sure there's other countries out there that have it.
Australia has one.
Australia, okay. So I mean, when you think about the enormity and the size of this, and what God's fixing to do is to bring order to all of this, it's not going to be pretty.
Right.
It's not going to be pretty.
You're right. I don't listen to. There's about 3 prophets that I listen to. I don't listen to a lot of them, and I get a lot of them. And folks, sorry if you send me a prophetic, I usually don't listen to it at all.
No.
But what I've heard from overseas, every prophet that is prophesying overseas and not in America is prophesying 2-term presidency for Trump. So it's going all over the place.
Wow.
And you mentioned something a while ago. What people are when they listen to and hear stuff, they're beginning to freak out by what they hear. But what I'm also experiencing is people, what they don't hear, they're freaking out. If they don't hear from a prophet, if they don't hear something out of the news, if they don't hear daily word of what's going on, they start freaking out also.
That's right. That's right. And look, it was never meant to be that, guys.
Not at all.
No, what you're looking for is a psychic. You're looking for a daily word. You're looking for a psychic is what you're looking for.
Yeah.
So, but you want to transition to some headlines here, brother?
Go ahead. Let's do it.
All right. So I'll just start from the top here. And you'll see a common thread here on some of this stuff, guys. President Trump announces office of the former president will carry on the agenda of the Trump administration. Now, isn't that interesting?
Wow. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I mean, it's like this thing's not over, guys. Look, and then we talked about where he was walking off the golf course. He said, "We're not done yet." Right. Type of reaction. Let's see here. Yeah, more than half of Joe Biden's Twitter followers are fake and were just created in January. This is all from the Gateway Pundit, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, they're propping this guy up. We've all seen the videos where we've got the guys walking behind the Oval Office windows. The trucks are driving by. I mean, a lot of this stuff just doesn't add up. We've got the military are building troops now in D.C. Why are they building troops in D.C. now? That makes no sense. You know what I mean? So the executive orders, Clinton had 2 in his first week in office. Bush had 2 executive orders in the first 2 weeks in office. Mm-hmm. Obama had 5 in his first week. Trump had 4 in his first week. Biden, I don't know how many he's got now at this point because this was like 2-3 days ago. I got this. So
yesterday, 39.
39. Okay, so if 39, if we remind me again which president governs like a dictator. Now, if he's got 39, let's look at this for a second. Now, again, we're putting the pieces of the puzzle together here. If this is a movie we're watching playing out right now, and he's being told what to do, which we all know, even if it's not a movie, we know he's being told what to sign and what not to sign. He said the other day, I don't even know what I'm signing, and they just said, just sign it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So 39 executive orders are literally trying to undoing what President Trump has done. Now, Biden, and I refuse to call him president because he's not my president, and he has signed 39, according to what your source is saying. So why are they doing this? Well, they're allowing this for even the liberals are getting angry right now at this point because the union guys pushed Biden into office, helped push Biden into office. Look what he just did to the oil workers. Look what he just did to the Keystone Pipeline.
Yep.
They're already laying hundreds of guys off right now at this point.
One pin stroke laid off 70,000 people.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, I mean, they're doing this. I believe they're doing this so that people will see exactly what they are because they're not hiding it now. Even the liberals are getting angry now. Those that have voted for Biden are having buyer's remorse at this point.
They are.
And big time. So, Breitbart, you got Raskin impeachment is to protect the republic. The republic. Funny he's calling us a republic. This is coming from a Democrat. Isn't that strange? Why would he? You know what I mean? Impeachment is to protect the republic from Trump, prevent him from holding federal office in the future. You and I both know that's not the real reason why. I think this stuff. They know this stuff is still on. They're panicked, and they're trying to stop him before he gets to them.
That's exactly what they're doing. And also, I read. I think it was Washington Post put out yesterday a survey. 11% of America is not happy with Biden right now. 11%. That means
11.
a lot of Democrats have moved over and said, we're not happy with you, buddy. 11%.
Wow. The Blaze. Now, something to do, I don't have it on here, but something to do. I think Pelosi had done something with the Green Deal. It invested something in one of the companies. I don't know what it was. And it was right after this. I guess Biden vows to replace entire government fleet of nearly 650,000 cars and trucks with electric vehicles. That ought to go over real well.
Yeah.
We're going to have enough charging stations?
Yeah. Let me correct myself. I said it just the opposite. 11% are happy with Biden. So that means 89% are not happy with Biden. 11% are happy with Biden.
So the plan is working.
That tells you a lot about.
That tells you a lot about the plan right there, because that's intentional right there. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because even the liberals are angry right now at this point.
Exactly.
So, well, hey, let's just hope gas doesn't go to $8 a gallon before this is all over with. Now, you want to talk about angry?
Please.
I mean, the entire country would be coming down on them, including the liberals at that point.
Yeah, in the last week, our gas here in California already has gone up 25 cents a gallon.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah,
it doesn't. I may even go up more than that. I don't know.
I'm sure it will.
Good news. Just in, this was like the was it 26th? U.S. federal judge blocks deportation freeze following a legal challenge by Texas, dealing an early blow to President Biden's immigration plans. Isn't that funny? They're not allowing anything to really go too far with this guy. You know what I mean? They're just showing just how bad they are.
Right.
We've all heard of these people dying from the vaccines and this, that, and the other. I think now they're asking FEMA, or is asking DOD or military or whoever to help them with the vaccines. Actually, Merck scraps the COVID vaccines and says it's more effective to get the virus and recover.
Yes.
That's a pretty powerful statement coming from one of the largest pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I already covered that one right there. Here's one we haven't heard one from in a while here. Eric Holder demands Democrats use their new power to pack courts. Necessary and totally appropriate. Now, when did this guy come crawling out of his hole all of a sudden? We haven't heard from this guy in months, literally months. And now all of a sudden he comes crawling out of his hole. Why is that? They're panicked. They want to stack the courts before something happens.
All right.
Again, more signs, guys. More signs. Let's see here. Here's one. Senator Patrick Leahy, tapped to preside over Trump impeachment, was hospitalized.
Yeah.
What's that? What's that scripture? Do not touch God's anointed. Period. I don't know what kind of warning that is, brother, but I think I'd be taking it seriously right there.
Yeah.
Let's see here. What else we got here? Yep, that's all that one with Eric Holder right there. What's this one? Oh, you got the press secretary.
I do.
Yeah. You guys got to see this. This is like unreal. This has got to be a movie, brother. When you watch this video, this has got to be a movie.
She's not being told anything, or she's, I don't like to call anybody stupid, but let me share the screen real quick and we'll watch it. All right, here we go.
Excellent question. We're on day 5, so I don't have anything new for you. Well, our team is working right now. We've been here for 5 days. Nothing to report at this point in time. It's a great question. I haven't had the opportunity to speak with our national security team about it. It's an excellent question. I would send you to the Department of Defense. I would send you to the Department of Homeland Security. Of course, we defer to our health and medical experts. Let me take the second question and talk to our national security team and get you something more comprehensive. I don't have any preview for you on when we will have more specifics on our strategy. It's an interesting question. We all love the mailman and mailwoman. I don't have anything for you on it. I'm happy to check with our team on it and see if we have any specifics. I think the president's view on our relationship with China, I tried to do my best to convey to all of you. I'll have to check on that specific piece, and we'll circle back with you directly. As has always been the case, the president reserves the right to respond in the time and manner of his choosing. Even though I stumbled over that and needed a little more coffee before I came out here, I guess.
Bro, I mean, seriously, This has got to be a movie we're watching here, man. I mean, that's.
I want to give her the benefit of the doubt, not call her stupid. She's just not being given any information at all. Because is there any information at all?
Are they giving her any information at all?
I don't think so.
I don't think so because DOD or the Pentagon wouldn't let Biden's people in.
Right.
So I mean, oh man, this has got to be. And another sign. Someone shared the White House communications line. I called it to verify it myself. A friend of mine did, and it says the White House communications line is temporarily closed.
Yeah.
It's like, really? So these are all signs. All signs. Here's good news. Now, here's a point you brought up pre-interview. Lieutenant General, this is John Solomon. Lieutenant General Charles Flynn, brother of Michael Flynn, is being assigned to the head of U.S. Army Pacific. That is good news to me.
Yes, that's right.
Now, why would they do that, Paul?
Come on. Now, let me say, I don't know where to start first. Sorry about the pause. But the Pentagon is the one who put him into that position and promoted him. It wasn't Biden or his administration. That alone says volumes.
Yeah.
That Biden, the Flynns are the most hated family in the Democratic Party. They're not Democrats, but they're hated
by the Democratic Party. Yeah,
exactly. So, Biden's not going to put a Flynn in there and promote him to be over the Army Pacific. It's just not going to happen. So the Pentagon is the one to do that. So who's in control? That's my question.
Yeah, good point. We'll let the people decide. We're giving you the clues, guys. We're giving you the signs. We're giving you the clues. You guys decide.
And so that's my question. Who's in control? Yeah. And also for the Pentagon to say, Biden, stay out of the Pentagon. Your staff is not welcome here. Who's in control?
Yep.
That's supposed to be the commander-in-chief. You don't tell a commander-in-chief what to do. It's just the other way around. So who's really in control? That's what we do know.
Well, Democrats propose to move to expel Marjorie Taylor Greene from Congress. Now, there's a lady that's a fighter. Now, obviously, she's scaring some people half to death, which good for her. Yeah. Praise God. Go, girl. You got my vote.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, let's see here. What else we got here? I got so much stuff in here. Oh, stock market. People wanted me to address the stock market. Okay. I am not a stock market guy. I don't know how a lot of this stuff works. You know what I mean? I know there was this thing with Elon Musk, and he put out about GameStop or something, and that was it. What broke loose.
Right.
The stock market is run like our elections. If losing, change the rules of the game. You know what I mean? That's what they do. Now, look, the one thing I will say about the stock market, what has taken place here, honestly, because when you look at all of this exposure that we thought was really bad when Trump was in office is all of a sudden going to a whole nother dynamic and a whole nother dimension right now. Now people are seeing, even the common man are seeing that the stock market is now even rigged.
Yeah.
I mean, literally rigged, just like our electoral process. Again, put the pieces of the puzzle together, guys. What's happening here? They're showing the people, even the Democrats are getting ticked off at this mess, man.
All right.
I mean, again, we've got to be able to look beyond what we're seeing in the natural right here. You know what I mean?
Just what they did with GameStop 2 days ago shows the country it's rigged.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. 100%. And then New York State Attorney General has accused Cuomo administration of undercounting coronavirus-related deaths at nursing homes by as much as 50%, according to a report released today. That's New York Times, bro. So, I mean, again, we're coming to a place here where we're seeing everything being exposed on a level that the likes we have never seen before. Now, coronavirus garbage. Vaccines, we know not to take. Don't mess with the vaccines, guys, right now.
Right.
Period. The World Health Organization now says there is no scientific medical reason for any healthy person to wear a mask outside of a hospital. If you don't have respiratory symptoms, fever, cough, or runny nose, you do not need to wear a medical mask.
Isn't it amazing? January 19th, coronavirus was out of control. January 21st, now it's all of a sudden disappearing.
And now Biden's saying that we're going to lose 660,000 people from coronavirus. Notice that number, 660. Okay. So now was it Fauci or somebody was saying wear 2 or 3 masks?
Yeah.
So now you got people literally wearing 2 and 3 masks. And now that you got the WHO coming out here saying it's not needed at all.
Don't wear them. Yeah.
Are we watching a movie? Again, you know what I mean? None of it makes sense. That's all I got for headlines, brother, unless you got something.
I've been reading that 7,500 to 8,000 executives around the world are either resigning, dying, or committing suicide. This is what's happening. It's like we said earlier. This is a global thing that's happening. And this is what's going on. See, things in the atmosphere are not settled. Things in the spiritual realm are not settled, and that's what we have to look at and rely on. They're not settled. Right. Things are happening all over the world. And I said, God told me a year ago that great suicides are getting ready to hit. Literal suicides. A lot of people are being suicided, but suicides are going to start taking place when all this, as more of it surfaces.
Well, and when you can think about it, when the truth truly comes out, because our intelligence friend said that treason is only 1/10, about 1/10 of what's been going on. So when the truth really comes out, what was going on, look, I think it's even going to hit people like me and you who follow this stuff every day. You know what I mean? Or who have been following this for years, who've been on the front lines for years. Where are they going to go to for help, Paul? The church?
Yeah.
The church isn't prepared for this because the church has no clue this is even going on.
You're right. 100%.
So it's going to take people. It's going to take the remnant who have been following this for years, who understand what's going on, in order to help bring the deliverance and the healing that's needed to the people to help them understand. Whether it's your own family members, whether it's your friends, whatever it is. Not everybody's got a platform like this. We get that, but you need to prepare yourself, prepare your heart, prepare your mind for the influx of people that are going to be coming to you because they don't understand what's going on.
All right.
And you're going to be the one to help them understand, guys.
I encourage everyone, if you have any kind of burden at all, start a home church.
Right.
Just start it. Just
absolutely
gather friends together, start it, have a Bible study, sing a worship song, whatever you want to do. Just start a home church. Don't worry about tithes and offerings, and don't worry about 501c3s. Just start a home church, because the remnant needs to pull together and organize to be prepared. There's a lot of people. I mean, just like when you had mentioned, and I think it was one of your prophecies, how the Catholic Church is going to tumble. There's going to be hundreds of thousands of Catholic people that are going to be searching for a place to go.
Millions. Look, if they take the Vatican down, like I believe it's probably going to happen, they bust that place wide open and they find out what's been going on. There's going to be millions of Catholics that are going to be decimated.
Yes.
And look, there's other religions that follow this stuff. So other religions are going to be decimated when the truth comes out. Yeah. Again, we have to be prepared to be able to handle the influx of people that's coming. And it's like, look, it doesn't cost you anything to be a home church.
Right.
I don't even like using the term home church. It's home group or home congregation. You know what I mean? Because people get keyed in on church, so they think, well, it's got to be run like a business.
Exactly. Thank you.
The business model again. You know what I mean? It's like, so it's the home congregation. It doesn't cost you anything. It's free, guys. Literally free.
Yep. Exactly right. And that's what we need to prep ourselves for. God rose and has raised the remnant on purpose at this time.
For such a time as this. Absolutely.
And we need to take advantage of it.
Yep.
Let's see. What else do I have here? What I want to say that I addressed at the beginning of the show. What we do with what we know. We do know for sure that God's in control.
Yep.
We know that. We know that God is true, he's faithful, and will not leave us alone. So there are some things we don't know. There are some things we do know. Daily, weekly hints are being popped out over the
read the signs. Read the signs.
Right. And little signs are coming that we need to pay attention to. So let's not worry about how, and most of all, let's not worry about when. God's time is not our time, and so we expected it to happen and expected something huge to happen to January 20th. It didn't happen the way we wanted it to. We expected something to happen January 6th. It didn't happen the way we wanted it to. Now we put another date on this of March 4th. People, get your minds off those dates. It's about God's timing. Right. So what we need to do, sit back, rely on God. not what we know, not what we don't know, but just know that the sure thing is God has control of this. And God's timing is not our timing. So I encourage us to just sit back, stop trying to figure out how God is going to do it, stop trying to figure out when God is going to do it, and just know that God is in control, and let's watch him do his work. He doesn't want to watch us fret. He doesn't want to watch us do what we're supposed to do. He doesn't want to watch that. He wants us to watch him. And that's where we need to find comfort. I just got a report just live right now that all the lights went out in the White House.
That's a prophetic sign.
So what's going on at the White House?
That's a prophetic sign. The power's gone out. It has no power. There's another sign. I mean, again, nobody can explain this stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's another sign. So here we go. Again, like you said, March 4th, if he's taking the corporation down, March 4th was the original inauguration date. And I think that's why people are keying in on that. Like, look, guys, nothing may happen March 4th. You know what I mean? We can't go by that. We have to let whatever this plan is play forth. You know what I mean? I know we'd all would love to see something happening March 4th, but it may not. So we just have to be prepared to go the long haul on whatever this is.
We have to surrender our will to God.
Right.
We have to say, God, I know what's going to happen. We heard your word. Now let me be patient enough to wait on you. We have to stop trying to push God into our agenda and our timeline.
Right. And that's not the first time the lights have gone off, by the way. They went off the other day. They've been going off, I think, multiple times. But also the Washington Monument, the lights were going off. You got to understand what the Washington Monument represents. I'm not going to go into all that. It's a phallic symbol to Baal. It's the Baal system, guys. Freemasons built that thing. So, I mean, again, there's no power there. I think these are all prophetic signs that God's given us, but we just have to be able to stop looking in the natural and start seeing in the spirit what's actually God's given us here. He's trying to give us some hints of what's happening here. So,
yeah. And it appears that the last few nights, the lights have gone off on the White House.
Right.
So are they running everybody out and turning the lights off and saying, go home, go where you go?
Maybe it's part of the Green New Deal or something. I don't know. Maybe we're trying to save money.
Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
you got any? Go ahead, brother.
No, I got nothing else. Unless you want to take some questions and then we can end it, whatever you want to do.
Questions. We got about 5 or 6 minutes left. Let's move over to some questions. So, okay, guys, let us have your questions if you got them. And we are now looking at the chat. So shoot your questions to us. It's kind of like God's in a. I think God looks down at us and smiles because he says, "You people just don't have any idea what I'm about to do."
Is it true? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say it's just like a game that God's playing with us, laughing at us.
Yep. Is it true that Trump got inaugurated on January 22nd, 2021 to the United States, not the corporation? I cannot confirm that at all. I don't know. I just know that if he's taken the corporation down, which we cannot bet, we can't prove right now. Everybody's waiting to see what's going to happen. We really don't know. If he has taken the corporation down, then he would be sworn in as the 19th president of the United States for America.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how that would actually work.
Right.
Yeah, there's let's see here.
Are the press conferences actually being held in the White House? Some people are saying yes.
Know.
Some people are saying no. Some people are saying it's a stage. So at this point, we don't actually have the answer to that.
Let's see here. Home groups, guys. Home groups. Definitely home groups. That's what you want. Doesn't cost you anything. Look, tithes and offerings is not all about money, guys. It could be the next door neighbor could need tires for the car. I mean, it could be clothes for the baby across the street. Whatever it is that's in your circle of influence. Help people out. That's your tithes and offerings right there. Everybody doesn't get focused on money.
Right. I do want to address this one question. Is a 508c1a good? That is the most question that I get asked about the 501c3s in my email, my messages, stuff like that. I'm getting ready to put a video together explaining the 501s, the difference between it, a 508, et cetera, et cetera. So just hang on for a while and watch for my video. I've been doing 10 years of study on this stuff.
Where is George Soros? That's a good question.
Yeah.
Where's a lot of these people? Where were they at? I don't call it the inauguration. I call it the funeral.
Yeah.
Because when you looked at those guys that were sitting there, look, if you were about to go down for treason, you were about to be literally executed for treason, and you saw your pardon standing up there, which would be Joe Biden for those guys, would
Yeah.
you not be celebrating and dancing in the streets?
Exactly.
It looked like they were at a funeral, brother. There's another sign. Why aren't they all dancing in the streets? Every liberal across America wanted them gone, wanted President Trump gone, because I think even they know in their spirit something's not right.
Exactly.
Something's not right. Even the Dems I know it.
Yeah. It was. They were all solemn. It was like a funeral. I watched about 5 minutes of it, and I told my wife, I said, I can't watch this. It's a funeral going on.
Yeah. Will Washington remain the capital if President Trump gets back in? That's a good question, because this is where it will probably get technical. If he takes the corporation down, could he effectively move the capital? He could say, well, forget Washington. He says, I'm going to put it back. He could say, I'm putting it back in Philadelphia, which was like the original capital, where it all started. Honestly, we saw moving trucks down there in Mar-a-Lago. If anyone's done any research on Mar-a-Lago came from the post-serial heiress. She had donated to the government. Somehow it got given back because they couldn't afford the maintenance. And guess who bought it in 1981? Trump.
Yeah.
For $10 million. And she named it. She wanted to call it the post-serial heiress before she donated it. She wanted to donate it and called it the Winter White House.
Oh.
There's another sign, guys. The Winter White House. We saw moving trucks at Mar-a-Lago. Why are we seeing moving trucks at Mar-a-Lago? Is he moving back in there? I don't know. But it had 3 bomb shelters. And I guess the press secretary, when Trump was in office, confirmed that it did have a skiff. So he could effectively run everything right there from Mar-a-Lago.
Yep. I'd kind of like to see it go to Texas, but that's just my opinion.
Can you explain how the church would get out of the 501? That's in a show in of itself. I would tune into Paul's show on that one, because that's a whole show in of itself.
I will explain legally how you get out of a 501c3. It's very easy. Easy. Literally takes 5 minutes to get out of a 501c3.
Yes, I'm still doing other shows as well, guys. I am. How much time we got, Paul?
Until we stop, but about 3 minutes.
Okay.
But I'm okay until we just keep going. It doesn't matter.
Okay. Let's see here. The lights went out because Biden went to bed. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that, yeah. God is about to do something biblical. It's in the air. Absolutely. Who has the nuclear football? Good question. I don't know if it's ever been transferred back to Biden. Can't confirm it. Nobody can confirm that. We just know originally Trump took that nuclear football with him, which has never been done in history, by the way. We had a lot of never been done in history. Biden flew in on a private jet versus a government jet to be inaugurated. That's never been done. Again, more signs.
Yeah.
Something's not right, and even the Democrats know it.
Yeah. Here's an easy one. Is Joel Osteen a 501c3? Yes. Absolutely.
Let's see here.
How long do we think Biden will be in office? Look, we just
I don't know.
Explained a while ago. That's up to God. We don't know that. God has that under control. So keep your eyes on God. Please keep your eyes on God.
Let's see here. That's about all I'm seeing right now. What about the vaccine? Don't take the vaccine. No. Do not take any vaccine right now.
Yeah, I agree with this gal. She said, Ken Clement even said that God would fool people. And that's one of the big things. I've said multiple times on this show that God spoke to me a few weeks ago, said I'm getting ready to do something so huge that it's going to shock the world.
Okay, I'll take this last one right here.
All right.
Why is D.C. wanting to become the 51st state? This is just my personal humble opinion, because I think he's taking the corporation down. You got to understand, when people go to Washington, D.C., they say, well, we work for the people. No, they don't. Legally, they work for the corporation. They don't work for you and me.
Yeah.
So they're under the protection of the corporation. So I think what's happening is, while they want to become a 51st state, because they know Trump is taking the corporation down, now they're held accountable by we, the people. They work for us, and it's scaring them to death. So they want the protection of their own state, to make their own rules, to make their own laws, whatever. That's just my humble opinion. I think that's another sign that Trump has taken the corporation down right there, that he in fact did do it, is because they want to become a state. because they're out from under the protection of the corporation and they know it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I feel. Look, our final words, God is in control, period. Mark's not in control. I wish sometimes I was in control,
No.
but we're not. We're not in control. There's a lot of people that are in, want us to be in control, want to be in control, want us to know who's in control. And there are just some things that we don't know that God just did not reveal. And I think on purpose, God's not revealing things. We have to have faith. Surrender your will, surrender your questions, surrender everything over to God, knowing that He is in control. He's the Almighty. We're not.
Absolutely.
Got any final words, brother?
Guys, just hang in there. We just got to hang in there. We're all in this together. Don't shoot the person in the foxhole next to you here. We just need to stand together in unity right now, and we'll come through this. We'll come through this victoriously, however it works out.
Absolutely. Exactly. Can't say anymore. God's got it. God's in control. I wake up every morning anticipating, excited to see what God's going to do today. That's always been my attitude, and I hang on to that. And I wait for God to show up and show off. So it's up to God.
Exactly.
All right. Let me pray, brother. Father, we thank you for everything that you're doing. I pray that you touch the viewers, every person that's seeing this video. I pray that you soothe their spirit, calm their spirit, let them know that you're in control. Even if they have to come back and repeat this multiple times, you let us know that you're in control. We're trying our best to have faith. We're trying our best to hold on to you and reward those that are holding on to you and looking at you. And I thank you that you are taking this country and this world exactly where you want it. We're thankful that you didn't change your mind and say, oops, sorry, guys, I don't have control over this. I'm walking away. God, we thank you for not doing that to us. And we praise you for being the head of all of us. And we thank you that we fall under the guidance of your spirit. We fall under the guidance of your authority. And Father, I pray that you bless Mark. I pray that you bless prophets. There are prophets that are holding on to the word that you gave them. And I pray that you lift their spirits. They're being attacked like crazy. And I rebuke the assignment that Satan has against the true prophets of God. I rebuke it and put it into a position of nothing. I command that in the name of Jesus. And Father, I pray that health be abundant in their hearts. And I pray that you had the victory and we claim that victory in your precious name. Got anything last, Mark?
That's it, brother.
All right.
Hold the line. Hold the line.
Hold the line. We're still here. We're not going anywhere. And I thank you again for attending another show. God bless you, and we will see you on the next show.